Welcome back to the show. Well, those of you that have put pen to paper and perhaps written your own book or a journal of some sort and then trying to get published. We've had many authors on this show over the years and, you know, sharing their difficulties and, of course, sharing their successes as well. Well, my next guest helps people get published and has published a book herself. I'm joined by Tina Lalonde, author of How to Create and Self-Publish Your First Book on Amazon in Less Than a Day. Welcome, Tina. Great to have you here. Thanks for reaching out, by the way. I think you reached out because of a post I put up on social media, right?
Yes.
Excellent.
I found it on Ladies Who Lunch.
Oh, yes, Ladies Who Lunch. Our good friend Catherine Landry there who's got that. Well, thank you for doing that. So tell me, you know, about getting into this field. Where did that come about?
So quite a few years ago, I bought a cottage and I was trying to find out the rules and regulations to renting it. So, you know, when you go into chapters or you look online, you try and find everything that's there about it. There was not one book about the rules and regulations for taxes, how to rent, how are your neighbors going to feel about this? And I had searched out government to find out, okay, what can I do? What am I not allowed to do? And still nothing. Everything was like bits and pieces everywhere, but not one book. So then I thought, well, if I'm looking for it, somebody else must be looking for it. Right. And so then I wrote my first book, How to Turn Your Cottage into Profit.
Really?
Yeah. And it was scary at first. And I had done a presentation just last Saturday. I was telling them, making them guess how many actual drafts does it take.
Oh, boy.
Somebody said 120. I said, well, at that point, I would have given up.
Yeah, I'd give up at that point. But what do you think? What's the average?
36 drafts to get this one published.
Okay.
And it's not because on their part, it was mine, because I was working with somebody who's very, very good at English. And she was saying, like, be careful about the English. I said, when you're writing a book, it has to be coming from you, because you're the one that's going to speak and represent it, not the person that's helping you correct it. So that's how that came about. And I'm proud. I definitely loved it. It still gets residual income.
Excellent.
That's the part. When you self-publish, you can still make money every day.
Yeah, so that's my next question. Like, why self-publish? I know the challenges of trying to get a publisher that I've, as I mentioned, spoke to many authors that have come on the show in the past, but self-publishing, I mean, it's intimidating for a lot of people.
No.
No, eh?
I find it complete opposite.
Okay.
Because publishing, you have to pitch your idea. And in the publishing world, it has to be something that the audience is looking for. Self-publishing, if you have a story inside you, or you like journals, like I love to create journals for myself, you can self-publish that. There are no rules and regulations to that. The thing that authors and people that want to write a book are more concerned about is their trademarks and their personal information. Well, I can tell you one thing, everybody has copied someone. It's nothing, there's nothing original anymore.
Right.
So if you're so worried about that.
Well, your story can be original.
Yes.
Right?
But somebody else may steal from it. And they're not stealing your exact story, they're stealing parts of it.
Right.
So
so tell me about how this then came to be. I mean, and I like the size of it too, right? It's like it's so. It seems like you've simplified everything for people.
I did a right to the point. It's exactly how to step by step, using free tools, using a free account. So I decided I was getting questions about, well, how did you start? How did you become a published author? And it's exactly that. There are 3 things you need to become a published author on Amazon: a book interior, a book cover, and an Amazon KDP account, and that's it.
That's it.
And you can do it in less than a day.
I guess the biggest issue that people have is actually starting that book. I mean, you did it yourself. What advice do you give to people out there?
Let's go with you.
Oh, boy.
You have a story. You did a TED Talk, and I was telling you before we started this, I cried listening to that. That's not something that I have been through, but other people are going through something similar. So no matter what things that you have gone through in your life, whether it be finish high school late, finish college, raising a family, recipes, that's my next book. It's going to be creating recipes.
Really?
So you have a story to tell, why not tell it? People ask me, it's like, well, it needs to be big. No, it doesn't need to be big. Amazon's minimum requirement, 24 pages.
Really?
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, that sort of was the overwhelming part. I mean, I talked to you off camera and I said, yeah, I did start writing a book, and then I kind of got overwhelmed with, oh my goodness, if it's going to, you know, if people are going to read it, it has to be quite substantial, and you're saying that's not the case.
If you can impact one person, you've made a difference. If your goal is to make $1 million with writing a book, books are not it. And it has been told by many, many people, books is like a marketing tool. That's all it is. It's a way for you to get your foot in the door for something else. But it's also, you want to share your story. So I was talking to one of the other interviewees out there, and she has stories from her mother. And so she is now considering writing the book about her mother's words of wisdom.
I love the green room here.
I do.
And it's really, isn't it special?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's special because, you know, for a lot of television shows, because they're so long. Let's take morning shows, for instance. And, you know, I worked on a morning show, but, you know, it's a 3-hour show, so you can't get everyone in the same room, where we can do it here. And you've obviously done some great networking. That's great to hear. You mentioned you just did an event, but you have another one coming up October 1st. Tell me about that.
Yes, so it's an online course for exactly that, where I show people exactly how to do it in short, chunkable videos on how to create, self-publish, and with that, I also have the ready-made templates, so the book cover and the interior journals. So this is what I teach people, is start with a journal so that you get used to the tool, and then create the book that you've been procrastinating on. And my biggest thing is, everybody has write a book on their bucket list. Stop waiting, start doing it now. It'll take you 4 weeks or less.
Take me back to last week's event. Like after it ends, you must get feedback from people. What was the feedback you've received?
So people were asking more questions about the trademarks, about their rights. And with Amazon, they don't own any rights. You own it. So the difference between self-publishing and publishing is publishing usually owns the rights to your book and decides, tells you where you can and cannot promote it. When you're self-publishing on Amazon, you can change the cover, you can change the interior, and you can do it right now. Whereas usually in the publishing world, it can take up to 6 months to 2 years to get your book published. So this one is, let's say, so in my first example, when I created this first book, I printed it, got it printed, sent to me, and I went, oh my God, I have so many errors on it. So again, you clean it up, you submit it, it takes 3 to 5 business days, and poof, your new version is up.
Tina, you mentioned you're writing a recipe book. Well, you see, we have a full kitchen available. I'm having you come back and to do some recipes for us, okay? Deal?
Sounds
All
good.
right. Visit Tina's website, find out more information. We brought up that email address as well. We'll be right back.